Female teacher to the poor businessman in the class to make up lessons so that he progressed from the bottom to the first in the grade. Boy accidentally became a father. But female teacher was sent to prison for 30 years. What's going on here? Lily is a woman of great style. As a female teacher, she was often favored by the boys in the school and even provoked by some of them. Tony was one of them. Lily didn't get mad at him for speaking out against her, and she made Tony stay for the lesson with ease. She knew all too well about bad students like this, whose minds were filled with bad thoughts every day. So she unbuttoned her shirt and walked over to his desk, then bent down and looked at Tony's proud line. Tony looked dumbfounded, and so did his little friend. From then on, Lily started to tutor Tony alone, and his grades went up like a rocket until he became the first in his grade. The school assembly was held one day when the student representative was speaking in front of the class. The students suddenly heard a strange sound behind the curtain, and the sound kept going. The principal had to ask someone to open the curtain. With the curtain open, Lily and Tony appeared in front of the crowd. What they were doing just now is also self-evident. No one can deny what just happened in front of their eyes. The principal first expelled Lily and then took her to court. She was sentenced to 30 years for harassing a student. A few months later, the court hearing took place. The story was so absurd that it attracted the attention of the media. However, the moment he stood up, everyone was shocked because Lily was pregnant. Apparently, Tony didn't know about it yet. His open-mouthed expression was photographed by the media and put in the newspaper, and he became a national celebrity. Lily's baby was born soon after she went to prison, and it was a boy. The judge gave the baby to his father because Tony wasn't able to raise him. The father named him Bob, and with the birth of Bob, Tony reappeared in the spotlight. This time he was not only in the news but also received many film offers and thus made a lot of money. The young Tony felt that this was the only way to make money, so he began not to study and his grades went back to last place. And so he reached middle age. One day Tony received a message from his lawyer. He had an outstanding payment during the movie. If he didn't take care of it this month, his account would be closed by the bank and he would even be arrested and sent to jail. Tony froze at the news because he now had no more money. After the heat had passed, no one would ask him to make a movie for a show, but if he couldn't pay the money, he would be arrested and put in jail. He asked his lawyer if there was any solution. The lawyer said there would be a marathon soon with a 300-pound contestant and no one was betting on him to win. So Tony could bet on him. If the fat guy wins, he will get a lot of money, more than enough to pay off the fine. It was clear that the fat man was not going to win the race. He had no choice but to go to his agent again. The agent gave him an idea to take Bob to visit Lily in prison, and then get the media to promote him so that he will have heat again. This sounds unreliable, but there is no other way. But the son Bob moved out of the house early. He is very dissatisfied with Tony the father and even do not recognize Tony as his father, claiming that he is an orphan. His parents died. In order to pay the fine, he had to find Bob. At this moment, Bob is having dinner with his fiance's family. He entered the door and introduced himself as Bob's father. The words scared Bob spit out his mouth, rushed to explain to everyone that Tony is his friend. He was just joking, and then immediately pulled him into a small room to warn him not to talk nonsense. Although Bob tried to deny the relationship between the two but could not change it so that he stayed. Tony got his way. In order to win Bob's favor, he was trying to please everyone at Bob's in-laws party, and the atmosphere was made very warm by him. Suddenly he overhears Bob's fiancée flirting with his boss on the phone from upstairs. He caught his fiancée in the act and exposed her at the party. But what he didn't expect was that his fiancée and his boss had already thought of countermeasures and both proved their innocence. It seems that this is just a fiasco, and that was the end of the story. But the next day when he went to see Bob, he found his fiancée lying naked in bed with a strange man. He had to tell Bob about it immediately. But for the wedding to go smoothly, his fiancée gives him a huge check to keep the secret. Tony thought long and hard about it. For the sake of his son's happiness, he reveals his fiancée's true nature at the wedding and then tears up the check in public. Bob was embarrassed but also grateful for Tony's honesty, so he announced their relationship in public and promised to visit Lily with Tony. At that time, Tony already had feelings for Bob. He couldn't imagine how he would react when he saw all the media when he visited Lily. Before he could say no, Bob had already driven to the prison. The charming Lily is still very attractive in her middle age. She sat across from Bob, but not before exchanging a few pleasantries. The agent arranged for the camera and microphone surrounded. He knew he'd been duped. When Tony arrived, he couldn't explain to Bob before his eyes met Lily's. They even started flirting in front of the crowd. It was an eye-opening experience for Bob. He even forgot to get angry. This made Tony nationally famous again, and he got an invitation to the Variety Film Festival as he had hoped. His fine was also paid off, but looking at his son's sad figure after his breakup, he had to find him another girlfriend. At the end of the movie, Tony and Bob are watching TV together. The marathon that the lawyer mentioned was being broadcast. What was so shocking was that the 300-pound fat man really won everyone. Tony was the only one who got it right, winning $6 million with $20.